Hello internet and welcome to round 9 of the ACIC IndyCar Championship. Don't worry about the other 8 races. I did not record them in a way where I can edit them up. From now on I will be having them all edited up like this. So this is just a quick highlight reel. I'm going to act like I'm commentating this one. Anyway, 6 lights we go to. Not the worst of starts. It's a little bit late. It looked like that Cyanide driver did jump the start a little bit, but going down to turn 1, which is a fast right-hander, you normally take it in about 4th gear. I've broken a bit late for a start, so I can't quite turn in, because by the time it gets to turn in I'm locking up. So I pushed drives a little bit wide. I weren't too happy with that. I didn't get penalised though. It was only race start. Anyway, down to turn 2. A little bit of locking. Tyres are very cold because we don't get tyre warmers for this league. So it's just sort of having to warm the tyres up quite quickly. So it's preferable to start on the softer compound for the race because it warms up a bit quicker, but then it's also, will it last long enough? So we're down to turn 3, locking up a little bit, but looking to the outside, not making a move. And then turn 4, it's difficult braking zone, so I just took it a little early, a little bit easier because we're on cold tyres. Now I shouldn't have braked here. I did quite a bit, which unsettled the car. Did not like that, so now we're just... It's a bit of a catch-up game now. We started in P7, we're down to P9, about to lose another position, I think. No, we did not. Yeah, here we are. Oh, yeah, you see I lifted off and the car got a little bit unstable and wasn't quite able to take as much speed as I wanted to. Actually, if you saw in the mirror, that was my teammate Timo flying out of that corner. Yes, as we try and work our way up now, we get a bit of an instant going into the final corner. This is perfectly fine. Those two go a bit wide, so I want to try and fight them, but it's lap 1 and I don't want to have a big incident, so I just take it a little bit easy. And then the driver behind brakes a little bit later and just flies me and himself off the road. Taps me again. I think I got caught there, but the dust picked up, didn't quite show it. That was the first lap of the race, which went terrible. I stay out because I didn't have enough damage to need to pit for the time that would have been wasted in the pit stop, so I carry on my race. Down later into lap 2, you can see, I think this is Dan Johnson's made a mistake. Yeah, you can see him sat on the exit of the corner. I take it a little bit tight so he doesn't hit me. Yeah, he sat on the exit of the corner and that's just a little mistake he made. So that's another position up for us now in P11 after 2 laps. And a couple of laps later, you've got, not sure what happens here, we'll have to see. Just gonna see, I think this is my teammate letting me past. Yeah, see, he dives over to the right hand side of the track. You might hear him in a sec, he'll say that he's onto the left, or he's gonna stay wide. And then I'll have the inside of the corner. So that's the move I make on my teammate. It's already a difficult one, so not much to see there. But then I don't make a mistake after this one. There are a couple of times where I make some silly mistakes, which will be fun to see. There's the cut there, and now I'm fighting with L'Atelier. This is a long battle. So go battle though. Starts from about here where I'm close enough to be catching. So going to the double right-hander at the end of this. Not that straight. I'm not quite sure on corner numbers. You can see I go to the outside, but I feel like they're going to defend the outside a lot more aggressively than they did the inside. So I look to the outside, but they're still there, so I just sort of sit behind, lose a little bit of time, but then through here, I don't know what I do with my line or throttle input, but I take it a lot quicker. Very early for the final corner, just to be safe. Get the throttle very nicely past Coverta there. He's made a mistake off. And sending it down into turn 1. We're using the push-to-pass system, which is the engine flashing red there, which isn't the engine being damaged, it's just the electronic making it faster. Through turn 1, it's all fine. they're also using push to pass at this point, but now I'm in the slipstream, so I'm already getting pulled along, but then top speed hits, so I put some push to pass in, and I look to the inside. I do get past a little bit of grass there to make sure there's the space, braking at the second class board, staying to the inside to give them space. That's my teammate jinxing me there as we spin round and get a little bit of a tap from that driver. I'm slightly annoyed about that instant because I checked the inputs of the other driver afterwards and they didn't even try to brake once I got sideways. So that's that.
Could have just slammed the brakes instead of.
You can see the yeah, I said they could slam the brakes. There was a little bit of damage, but now this is me coming out of the pit lane after fixing that damage. The cold tyres make me make a little mistake and we do lose the position to Steven Coberza, which isn't good, but it's a good battle we have. And then Timo, my teammate, gets involved a little bit later. Is he on track right now? About 30 seconds down the road is the top 3, and we are the last of the unlapped drivers. We are second last driver, but here now it's about 2-3 laps later. We are chasing down Timo and Coverza because I've fallen a bit back from him. Because these tyres, these primary tyres, were not wanting to heat up. You might see they're at 90 now, but down the straight they cooled down a lot, and then it's like it took until that long right-hander to get any temp into them. See, just sliding, I've got no grip. I think about 12 laps in, I took flat there, very wide, braking early because the car was getting unstable. But both of them get not the best exit, and I get a really good exit. So I sit on the inside of Timo, my teammate, make sure that he knows that I'm there and he doesn't dive over. There's Coverza diving over. I look to the inside. I'm not going to fly onto the inside, just I don't want to cause an airplane crash. But here I keep to the middle of the track and just squeeze Coverza out a bit. But then going into turn 2, there's a little bit of a tap at the rear from me as he outbrakes himself.
This guy doesn't know how to drive.
He takes himself out of the race basically. Now,
Thank you.
Down to turn 3, Timo lets me pass again, and that is it for instance for now. Taking the corner very nicely. Not much going on. I didn't lock up and spin there. I think it was just too much brakes I put in on that earlier incident against Natalia. Down into here, I do get a little bit deep on the brakes and lock the rears, which is a little bit of a struggle for this car for some reason. It wasn't liking the braking. So I've got Laguna Seca in 2 weeks to point out. I'll bring that up again later, but Laguna Seca in 2 weeks. I was making sure my brake bias was correct there. Now passing this back mark, which got a little bit dicey, but I wasn't really given enough space there, which is perfectly fine. So see the final corner now. I was braking a little bit earlier than I was in quali there, that final corner, just to make sure I didn't overshoot it, because it's quite an easy one to lock up and overshoot. So it was taking the brakes easy into that final corner. Here braking just after the 150 board. Timo having a little bit of a spin there. He just lost the rear on the exit of that corner.
Timo, what happened?
I lost the rear.
Oh, unlucky. I'll try and close up on Jeremy.
7. As we are now in pit lane for my second stop of the race.
38.
See the tyres after the lap. I've been sat in pit lane for a bit, so I am going slowly, but they are ice cold really quickly just because I couldn't get any temperature into them. So now we pull into pit lane, pull into our box, stop. It was quite a short stop because there wasn't any damage to fix. It was quite an uneventful stint because it's sort of I pit from that damage. I got a little bit of a fight, but the tyres just weren't there. But now you'll see if you do look at the temperatures once I'm into this stint a bit. This is my telemetry app getting in the way a little bit, so I have to move my mouse over and select set courses so that isn't in the way. Lost a little bit of time from that, and then it's just trying to not make a mistake whilst warming up the tyres. Use a little bit to get some lateral G's. in, not too much so, and then at some point we'll cut to lap 24, so 4 laps from the end. I believe this is my fastest lap, so we'll just commentate over this a little bit. Heading down, yeah, it's my fastest because I used push to pass. Heading down to turn 1, 6th gear, 280 kilometers an hour, 290. Do I get to 300 by the end of this? No, quite. 300, yeah. 4th gear, a lot of curb, a lot of exit. 2/10 down on my quali lap time. Braking about 75 meters. Taking it very nicely. Not using as much exit as I would have thought I would use. Yeah, half a second down on my best quali time. And using push pass all the way down, braking at the is that 150 or 100 meter board? Anyway, second to last board. Up here, taking it a bit easier. Trail braking all the way through there. Make sure I do this as flat out right hander, just about. Curving gives you enough grip. Braking second to last board. Missing the apex a little bit there, but there's enough runoff where you can go a little bit wide and still take the corner. Lifting through here just so you can be off the corner a little bit. Take second apex. Fast through there, taking the least amount of turning needed. And up here you brake at the third board, so there. And then it's hard, a bit low on the gears, didn't mean to go down to first, so I had to jump up to second. Flat out left here, and braking a little bit earlier because we're in the race conditions at the final corner just to get an okay exit onto the final straight, not with too many G's into the tyres. But if you look, you can see they're all like all the tyres are comfortably at sort of 80 to 90 degrees, while front right and both right tyres were struggling a bit on the primary tyre. Jump a bit more into the lap after my fastest. And we'll go to a little instant with a back marker here where I'm not going to report it because they're quite new to sim racing, but they've dived onto the track pretty aggressively and they're sideways, so I've dived out the way a little bit there. There is a lot of information on the screen, so sorry if it's a bit much, but it's all information that I like to look at throughout my race. It's not lined up correctly for race because lots of this was set up in practice where I have it set up differently. This is the last lap, but I like to just have sort of sector times up so I can see where I am sector by sector against the drivers I'm racing compared to where I am lap by lap. So through turn 1 there very nicely, a lot more down because I'm braking way too early in that first corner, but it's race conditions, so I'm taking it easy. The tyres are dying a bit, but these tyres in this condition still felt better than the primaries through 90% of that stint, so I was a lot happier sitting on these alternate tyres at this track than going onto the primaries. Well, with this car and the compounds, sometimes it'll be like however you set up the car for a track where it will work the primaries a lot and it will overwork the alt, so you'll prefer the primaries. But for this track, I made the setup, and it was very nice on the primaries. There was enough grip, but on the well, there was enough grip on the alternates, but on the primes, it's just a bit difficult. I couldn't get temperature into them. You can see, yeah, like 100 degrees on that front right and 80 on the front right and 100 on the front left. Through this final section we go now. Good corner, no. Yeah, a little bit sliding. Nothing majorly bad about this. I'm braking a little bit earlier to make sure I make the corner. I'm taking a lot of curb there, which I really shouldn't be because it unsettles the car, but live and learn. There's Jacko Seigers, actually a driver I was racing, so I passed him, and while on screen it does say P5, that's because I was so far behind drivers ahead that
perfect.
They had left before I'd crossed the line, so just. And now for a quick overview of the race. That was a good race. The alternate tyres were very good to us, gave us a lot of grip. Primaries were a struggle, they were quite cold. and we gained one position net in the end. There was some good overtaking in it, but it was a lot of just having pace compared to the drives that I ended up around, because I was fast enough to be sort of where I finished, or maybe like P4 P5 maybe, but that would have been a fight to get P5, but I was definitely fast enough to get a better result than I did. But yeah, anyway, bye.